Second Life isn't dead. But these days, a lot of people call it a shopping simulator with a chat function. And half the time, even the chat is missing. A recent Reddit thread asked a simple question. Why aren't people using Second Life anymore? The answers were brutally honest, and they reveal more about the state of the platform than any press release ever could. What made the Reddit thread interesting was the way people treated the question almost like therapy. Instead of quick complaints, they wrote about years of history, friendships that kept them logging in, relationships that shaped their time in world, the thrill of roleplay communities, and eventually the emptiness when those things vanished. The thread reads less like a tech forum and more like a group of people comparing scars. The first theme that jumps out is connection, not just losing it, but how central it was to keeping people in Second Life. For a lot of long-timers, it's about the people, not the graphics or the shopping events that mattered. One comment described it perfectly. Their whole Second Life became about long-distance friendships and relationships. When those ended, they were left staring at a friends list filled with business contacts and people who had moved on. They still tried the clubs, they still went to events, but the local chat was silent and the old spark was gone. That iconic bing bing of an incoming IM became something rare enough to feel like a ghost of the past. It's not just nostalgia. Second Life was designed around spontaneity, bumping into someone, dancing, talking, starting something without planning it. Today, people describe logging in and seeing silence, or everyone tucked away in private IMs, probably on Discord. Without that public social fabric, the platform stops being a world you inhabit and starts being just a background for shopping or decorating. A gorgeous world, but one that feels hollow without the people who once filled it. Another pattern that came up again and again was burnout, the kind that builds over years of pouring time, money, and energy into Second Life. A lot of people describe the same cycle. They were obsessed, logging in daily, customizing avatars, running roleplay groups, building sims, shopping at every event. And then one day, it stopped being exciting and started feeling like a chore. And honestly, I felt that myself. For me, the burnout showed up in weekend sales. I work full-time during the week, and I also make videos for my channel. So weekends are when I want to breathe, catch up with friends, explore, actually enjoy Second Life without the weekday time pressure. But the pressure of must check Seraphim, must hit all the sales before they're gone, started to take over. It didn't make me quit, but it made logging in feel like homework. The word chore really hit me. The difference was when I consciously stepped back. I stopped obsessively following Seraphim every weekend, and suddenly I felt lighter. I logged in less for shopping and more for people and for the actual experiences. That's where the joy came back. It made me realize how easy it is to let Second Life turn into a cycle of consuming instead of connecting. Burnout also came from the grind of keeping up with the platform itself. People felt trapped in an endless cycle of buying the latest body, head, clothes, and furniture just to stay current. One resident called it Second Life as a weekend shopping simulator, not in a fun way, but in the sense that the social, creative core of the world was being buried under consumerism. That's the part that stings, when the energy shifts from shared creativity and role play to shopping and status symbols. The spark that kept people logging in eventually burns out. Some said it was the emotional toll, cliques, drama, toxic communities. One person wrote that every time they found a good group and thought they'd made friends, it blew up spectacularly, usually with drama that spilled over into real life. Another said the immaturity and infighting they ran into started affecting their mental health until they finally walked away. People also talked about the friction baked into the platform itself. One of the biggest culprits? Security orbs. More than one person described finally finding an interesting sim to explore, only to be booted home within seconds by an overzealous system. After repeating that cycle a few times, the motivation to explore just evaporates. Performance came up too. Some players said their computers simply can't keep up with Second Life anymore, especially since updates like PBR. For them, logging in means lag, low frame rates, and long resing times. That alone is enough to turn curiosity into frustration. I've seen this firsthand with my partner, Thunder. His old computer struggled so badly that most of the time he couldn't even see our home. He would log straight into the skybox, and even then, half the furniture and decor never rezzed. It wasn't immersive. It was frustrating, and often enough to make him log off. I felt a version of that myself when I was still on my Mac. I couldn't even move inside my house, so I ended up stuck in a skybox too. And really, what's the point of investing so much into a virtual home if you can't even enjoy it, because the tech can't keep up? Then there's the issue of control. A lot of longtime residents complained about how much of the content they buy is locked down with no mod permissions. For a platform built on creativity, it feels backwards. Avatars and clothes that you can't tweak, homes you can't personalize. Some described it as a slow shift away from user freedom towards brand protection, and for creative people, that's stifling. It's a reminder that sometimes the problem isn't just culture or community. It's the little obstacles Second Life itself puts in the way of enjoyment. If there's one thing that stood out from newer voices in the thread, it's how empty Second Life feels to fresh eyes. Imagine being a newcomer, dropped into these stunning, sprawling builds, castles, cities, beaches, only to realize you're the only one there. One person described it as feeling like the last human in a beautifully decorated museum. Even veterans notice it. People remember when you could land in almost any club or role-play sim and immediately find a conversation, even if it was just small talk. Now, they describe busy regions where avatars are parked but silent, or everyone is tucked away in chats on Discord. Local chat, once the lifeblood of spontaneous connection, is flatlined. That emptiness feeling reshapes how Second Life is used. Instead of a social world, it starts to feel like a solo game. Shopping, decorating, maybe snapping a picture. For newcomers especially, that shift is devastating. If your first impression is, "This looks gorgeous, but nobody's here," why would you stay? Not every reason people gave for stepping away from Second Life was about the platform itself. A lot of it came down to life just happening. Illness, grief, family responsibilities, all things that make logging into a virtual world less of a priority. One person said they left when their father was diagnosed with dementia. Another when their partner fell seriously ill. Others stepped back after losing jobs, or simply because their energy had to go somewhere else. Age came up too. Several longtime residents admitted that their core friend groups are shrinking, simply because people are getting older, busier, or passing away. One commenter even said their memorial area on their sim keeps growing while their circle keeps getting smaller. It's sobering, but it's also the reality of a platform that's been around for over 2 decades. The residents are aging along with it. There's also the simple truth of competition. Some people now prefer games that offer clearer goals, quests, or progression. Whether it's Final Fantasy XIV, The Sims, or something entirely different. Second Life doesn't provide those structures, so when the social glue weakens, other games naturally start to look more appealing. Life changes don't always mean leaving forever, but they do mean people come back less often, and usually for shorter, more intentional visits. Second Life shifts from being the center of daily life to being an occasional stop, a place you visit when time allows. Reading through that Reddit thread, it really shows that people step away from Second Life for all sorts of reasons. Burnout, technical frustrations, changing lives, or simply because the spark of connection faded. But that doesn't mean Second Life has nothing left to offer. I have to admit, I feel blessed. I've got a circle of amazing friends who keep me logging in, and because of that, I never feel like I'm just waiting for someone else to entertain me. I come here to enjoy myself, with or without company. I've always got projects to work on. Interviewing fascinating people, decorating a new sim, setting up a winter home, or just tinkering with a penthouse in the sky. That means when I log in, I'm never stuck staring at an empty screen wondering what to do. And that's one of the keys to enjoying Second Life. Don't log in with high expectations that other people will make your time worthwhile. Come in with something you want to do, and the rest falls into place. If you meet people, great. If you don't, you still had a good session. That said, I do understand how difficult it can be to meet people here. There's no quick fix for that. Even in real life, it isn't easy to meet people. What we can do, though, is try to create the kind of spaces we'd like to see. For me, that's what I hope Aussie Shores can be. Not another Discord server, but a handful of people who keep showing up, chatting, and making it feel alive. That's how communities start. I'd love to see that kind of energy. Second Life isn't perfect, but when you make it yours instead of waiting on others, it becomes a world that gives back.